David Roach, Democrat for mayor. And I'm running for mayor because I am tired of seeing the rich and the greedy kleptocrats and plutocrats running this town into the ground, stealing our money for their grandiose monstrosities and towers and edifices to their greatness, while the rest of us, our houses are being demolished, the streets are turned into cow paths, the sidewalks are all rutted, and our outer infrastructure all around the neighborhoods where we work and live, our property values, our home values and everything are going down, while a 10-block area downtown, all the money is just being sucked in there like a black hole and lining all the pockets of the greedy developers. And I'm tired of it, and we're all trying to struggle by, and what they're doing is they're just stealing our money for their benefit and their enrichment so that they can live in their big mansions and lake cottages and boats and everything else. And I'm up to here with it. I've lived here too long, and I'm seeing the decline, and everybody's talking about, oh, all this money, all these projects, all this infrastructure. Yeah, well, it's our money, and were we asked? No. It's all backroom, smoke-filled deals. Yeah, smoke-filled backroom deals, whatever you want to call it, but it's all crooked as heck. And I'll be merciful on the police department since we have somebody here that can arrest me, and I don't like that. But seriously, I spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours in college classrooms trying to study about urban policy and economics and things like that to try to make things better. And I think I've got some good ideas, and I think that if people just find me on Facebook, find me on the internet, just type in Google David Roach, find me, pick a social media site, drop me a note, and I'll be happy to get back to you. I'm highly accessible and very friendly. And despite all the rumors, you know, yeah, I've had one too many sticks poked in my cage, but haven't we all? Thank you.
What is the first thing you would do once you become mayor of Fort Wayne?
Well, sadly, Fort Wayne is divided between the rich and the poor. There's severe income inequality, and given this era of extreme partisanship brought on by the Koch brothers and the industrialists and everything, the rich versus the poor, we do have Republicans and Democrats, and most of the Republicans are of the take care of the rich and screw the poor, and the Democrats are for at least trying to level the playing field and get our fair share because we're helping make the rich people rich from our hard work. So I disagree, but that's fine. The first thing I would do is bring in each one of my department heads, say hi, find out what they do, find out what their budget is, find out how much it's costing us, and then do an overall review. I have specific ideas of what departments and what people are going to be flipping burgers after my administration is over, or started rather. Excuse me. So people that are, you know, working for the city, there's a lot of departments that I'm going to review and eliminate. And there's a lot of people that are going to be, sadly, out of work, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have new jobs, new responsibilities, and new, you know, advancement. So that's in general. Fort Wayne's going to be better for it. There's going to be less waste and more efficiency. Thank you. The mayor was talking about all these corporations that are all hiring all these people. Well, number one, I never see those ads in the Journal-Gazette. I never see those ads posted on any social media sites, any of the online job boards. You know, if you're a corporation, you're hiring, hang your shingle up, because all you're going to get is just whoever happens to come by that day. And if they're not qualified, the reason they're not taking manufacturing and factory and advanced manufacturing and advanced manufacturing is because there's some guy in a fourth world country that can do the same job for pennies a day. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. I mean, all workers should earn more and, you know, be treated fairly. You know, we got this free trade, we need fair trade, but the problem is that who knows, you're gonna spend, you know, let's say $10,000 or more to get this high-tech manufacturing degree at Ivy Tech at the Public Safety Academy that's never turned a profit yet. And so next thing you know, you're gonna have all this college student debt, and all of a sudden the economy is gonna have a hiccup or a stock market just like we've seen, and you're gonna be thrown out of work because your job went overseas, and then you're left hanging. So the reason why people aren't studying all this manufacturing is because they're afraid their jobs are going to go overseas. So what are they taking? They're taking jobs or taking education for careers that can't be shipped overseas. And so You know, General Motors is complaining, oh, we can't find anybody to work on our assembly line. It's like, well, they could go the same way as Harvester someday. Or Vera Bradley, you know, all these people, well, they're all out of work, so they're left hanging. What's going to happen to them? You know, so people are studying things other than manufacturing because they're trying to insure themselves against a downturn in the economy. Now, we've got, you know, the mayor says, oh, we're pouring all this money into the south end of town, $20 million. You know, that is like that much, you know, that's like nothing. We've got, first off, we got a $500 million project coming up that the EPA has told us that we have to spend to put a tunnel in from Foster Park around underneath the river over to the sewer treatment plant. That's non-negotiable. We can't do anything. Somebody made some settlement, so we're stuck with that. That's $500 million. It's going to be spent. We got another $100 million of our tax money mostly that's going to go to this ash brokerage project, you know. Well, like Mr. Cook here said, you know, I'm never going down there. I don't need it, you know. If they want to build it, let the private developers build it with their own $100 million. Then there's talking about, oh, $50 to $100 million for the riverfront development, which means all those beautiful trees you see along there, that's all going to be pavement and sidewalks. Those trees, they're going to be gone. They're going to be turned into pulpwood or sawdust or something. Then there's another $100 million for just all the other stuff that's going on downtown. Oh no, that's the legacy money. You know, I always joke that that $100 million is like the redneck in the trailer park that you read about that wins the Powerball, and within a year they're broke. That's the $100 million, and that's going to be spent just faster than you can say. So why not take? I challenge, instead of $20 million, let's put $100 million downtown, and in the south end of town here where all these houses need fixed up, and instead of these grandiose projects, you know, you got all these houses. Say you got a house that's renovatable. It's costing us $25,000 a house to demolish. So every third house, that's $75,000. So they could demolish one house, leave two houses, and take the money and use that to renovate houses. It costs $5,000 for a roof, another $5,000 for a complete HVAC system, windows, doors, and siding. You know, the median value of houses in this part of town is anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000. So it wouldn't take much to bring a lot of affordable housing, fixer-uppers as they call them, for people to move into and then move up, and then eventually as their success grows, and hopefully they won't get laid off because their factory job went overseas and they're left with a mountain of student debt. You know, there's a lot of things that can be done, small projects, instead of these, you know, $100 million here, $100 million there, $100 million there. You know, let's put $100 million in the south end of town here. But like I said, there's a $500 million project looming that we have no choice about. We're going to have to find the money. If we spend all this money on other stuff, then we're stuck. Thank you. But let's talk about schools. I am a strong supporter of public schools. I went to Snyder High School. I went to Fort Wayne Community Schools all my life. Harris Elementary, Lane Junior High, Snyder High School. Graduated, joined the military, sailed around overseas. Then I came back. I went to Ivy Tech College. I studied computer science there. I went to Ohio State University, all public institutions. I worked my way through college. I had very few student loans by the time I was done because I had a chance. Coincidentally, I worked on the railroad when I was in college. But so I think that the voucher system is just another way of the Koch brothers' agenda to dismantle our public school systems, which then would dismantle the teachers' unions, which then would dismantle the economic and financial base of the Democratic Party. That's their ultimate goal, is the destruction of the Democratic Party, and that's just one means of doing so. But let's talk about some of these things that have been touched on here. Contractors, Fort Wayne is never going to be Indianapolis, so we might as well give up on that. Our history has been a crossroads. If you look back, it's always been a crossroads. Our insurance corporations, all that they do is they just take money from the poor and give it to the rich. So this risk management, nobody's going to get an insurance license. They're going to get some risk management degree, but then they're still going to have to get their insurance license. Bankers, well, the bankers, they are under laws to loan equally to everybody, rich or poor, regardless of skin color, green, light green, dark green, whatever the case may be. Hospitals, when Lutheran Hospital packed up and left, they left because there wasn't any money down here. You know, people didn't have affordable insurance. Well, now we've got affordable insurance, maybe that they'll do that, so we'll have to see. But I'm a very strong supporter of public schools, and I hate what they're doing down at the State House, and I oppose it totally. Okay, we got a laundry list of issues. Number one, the unions, the working man, the ordinary person, the average citizen that pays the taxes, needs to be respected. If it wasn't for unions, then we'd all be slaves. We're a little more than that in Indiana now. They took away our collective bargaining rights in Indianapolis, and now we're all at will, but that's got to change too. I didn't talk about the police because I don't like to talk when there's people that can arrest me in the same room. But I ran for sheriff in 2010 and 2014, and I received 25% of the vote the first time around against Sheriff Freeze. I received 30% of the vote versus Sheriff Gladio. And I've been studying all the different crime statistics and all the different issues related to that, the number of black men incarcerated versus the number of white men. I've been arrested and stopped and harassed for driving with long hair and driving an old beat-up vehicle because I'm cheap. I don't like to spend extra money to insurance companies and stuff. Out north, where I grew up, I don't get much chance to come out here out south because, you know, everything's out north. You know, I live near the mall and so on, and it's not because I don't like coming out here, don't want to come out here. It's just my circle. No, people stay near the neighborhoods. Now, with respect to the south end of town, the reason, well, there's two big reasons why we're all talking about the south end of town. It's Democrats, and the 6th district, and the 5th district, and the 4th district, to be blunt, is where all the votes are. But the south end of town here, south of the tracks, is where all the infrastructure problems are. That's where there's the most need for fixing up and rehabbing and helping people, you know, get these houses, you know, back up to spec, where fixer-uppers, affordable housing, where everybody can afford to live. If we let the mayor have his way, everything will get bulldozed flat. They'll have all these get-rich-quick, fly-by-night, rent-to-own real estate people coming in, and nobody will be able to afford here. It's called gentrification. But you got streets, you got curbs, you got sidewalks, you got all these houses, so it's an infrastructure problem, it's not a people problem. But it is a poverty problem, and there's pockets of that all over. I've got a foreclosed house next to my home that the people were working at Waterfield Mortgage, and then they were working at a smaller mortgage company, and then they were scraping by at a couple of other different jobs, and now I don't know where they are, but the house is stuck there, and it's just, we finally got a guy coming in that he's trying to fix it up. So there's problems all over this town, but we're out south, and that's why we're talking about that. And so I've studied, you know, like I said, I got a lot of votes because people like my outlook and attitude on a lot of different things. You know, we got prescription drug dealers, Dr. what's his name, and problems out in, you know, the ghetto of Cherry Hill. Is that it? Yeah. And out in Sycamore Hills and Pine Valley too, but it's just a different kind of problem. And they can afford to buy their way out of prison. And, you know, the court system, that's a whole other forum. But let me say that, you know, I've worked various times out here at the south end of town, a tire store, just tooling around, an ice cream truck, and so on. And black folk down here at this end of town are the kindest, nicest, sweetest, most polite people you ever want to meet. Yeah, there's bad apples everywhere. There's a lot of redneck jerks that I've met out in Bloomingdale and Nebraska and everywhere else. But so I think I hit on everything. Thank you.